10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is January 26th, and we're going to get started here with some news from the rescue node. So, the rescue node, as you all know, I covered a couple of days ago, they are moving off Geth. And here we've started getting some updates about that. So they say our Teku consensus node has migrated to Besu. Teku users should experience no further service interruptions. Lodestar is next. And then Lodestar, Lighthouse, Prism, and Nimbus remain. So I think they're doing it one step at a time. So Teku is going first, and that's good. And then they've got an update saying our Lodestar node has migrated to Nethermind. Lodestar users should experience no further service interruptions. Prism is next. Prism, Lighthouse, and Nimbus remain. So Teku went across 14 hours ago, and now Prism went across 2 hours ago as of recording, which is the middle of the afternoon in US Eastern time. So it looks like the rescue node are doing one a day. So it will possibly be the case that we will get all of them done by the end of the weekend or early next week, which is absolutely wonderful news. So that's really cool. Next as well, we have more client diversity updates. So this is P2P.org, and you might remember the name P2P.org for them being the ones that were playing the timing games with the MEV blocks, and they are of course a Lido node operator. And here it says Ethereum client diversity update. As part of our client diversity strategy, we have successfully transitioned from Geth to Besu. Client diversity is an ongoing priority, and the Geth supermajority poses an extreme risk, possibly burning the majority of staked ETH in the worst case scenario. So that here then they talk about, we took the severity of this seriously. Our immediate actions to switch clients were aimed at safeguarding all assets. Our team has put in considerable effort to ensure seamless transition. We maintain the highest security and performance standards for your staked ETH. We believe that together with the rest of the community, we can reduce Geth to usage below 66%. Ideally, eventually below 33%. So we don't even get finality issues if there's any problems with Geth. And here, Jesse Pollack of Base is saying thank you for your service. Of course, he's got relationships with Coinbase as well. So hopefully Coinbase follows suit with this quicker than just promising research in a month's time, because it's not a big deal. It's really easy to do. Okay, and then here as well, we get another update. This is from Anchor Staking, who are like a staking service, another LST, and they're saying that they're switching 30% to Aragon next week, and they're bullish on Ethereum social layer. So then there's a screenshot saying next week we must transfer about 30% to Aragon. Also, we have power validators in SSV, and most SSV operators use different clients, but we plan to have much more features in Q1 around decentralization in general. So this is, of course, Anchor saying that this is what they're signaling, and they're tagged Superphase and Jasper as well, which is really cool amongst other people. So this is this news was tagged with those people, so it just shows you how they're kind of carving out this position for themselves as people who care about client diversity, which is really cool. Of course, Fizz remains the Superman of that, which is awesome. And then we had so this is ongoing. This is really great that this is happening, and I think it might be that we are already below 66%. It's just the numbers haven't been updated yet. Let me see if I have the website here. Clientdiversity.org. So if we have a look over here, the current distribution, it says 78% Geth, but that I don't know if that includes all nodes and like P2P and a bunch of these other groups that are saying that they're moving. Like just all nodes themselves have about 3% of Ethereum staked with them. ETH staked ETH. 3% of staked ETH is staked with all nodes. So this is really good to see that they're this numbers should be coming down. It might already be below, like I said, 66%, but maybe not quite yet. But hopefully, within a month or two, we should be doing really well. This is really wonderful, just how quickly, the community understood the severity of the current, the status quo, and acted to move on it really quickly. Like we just literally need one Coinbase, for example, with 15% of the stake to move to Bisu, and then Bisu would have 20%, Nethermind would have 14%, and Geth would have 63%. So that just on its own would be fantastic. If we get a bunch of them to move to Nethermind and Bisu, because those are the most production ready clients at the moment. Aragon, from what I understand, isn't quite there for running validators, and Reth I think still needs to build up some Lindy and needs to be battle tested a little bit more, but very soon hopefully we'll have 5 execution clients, and hopefully the distribution will be even a little bit better than the consensus side, where Prism and Lighthouse could technically cause finality issues right now, but then with Tiku, Nimbus and Lodestar, hopefully we can get those a bit bolstered as well, so they're like 20 to 25% each, like 15 to 25% each would be fantastic there as well. Okay, next we got this update from the latest all core devs consensus call, ACDC, and they were talking about which EIPs to prioritize for Petra. So this is the upgrade that is going to be happening after Denkun, which is scheduled kind of for March right now. It looks like middle of March, potentially maybe the end of March if there's any bugs that come up in testnet deployments. But this is a discussion that's been happening now for the last few days, where people working with different client teams are kind of signaling which EIPs they think should have priority and which ones they like support moving forward with. At this point, nothing is set in stone, so everything can change. However, it seems like a lot of people are talking about EIP 7002 to be included, and this is the EIP that will enable execution layer triggerable exits. So it'll be like forced exits. So what this means is if you sign, if you become a node operator with Rocket Pool, you will give Rocket Pool the ability to kick your node off the network, and this will be used, if you're misbehaving by like stealing MEV or anything like that. Now, this is a really, really big update for Rocket Pool, because we need this to help with our scaling, right? Like at the moment, we're at the limit of what we can do safely with LEB8s when you keep MEV theft in mind. And then going forwards, EIP 7002 will really open the door for mega pools, and with mega pools we'll be able to change the collateral type so it's across the node instead of across a single validator, and we will also be able to potentially get down to LEB2s, maybe even LEB 1.5s. I've seen some people float around, but we'll have to assess the safety of those numbers. There's another one that impacts Rocket Pool, but here Christine says that the devs are still debating whether to prioritize EIP 7251, and this is increasing the increasing the max effective balance. So at the moment you stop earning rewards on 32 ETH. That's the max and the minimum that you need for your validator. However, increasing the maximum amount that you have in your validator means that you'll be able to compound your rewards. Also, it means that people will consolidate their stake into fewer validators, and what will happen with that is it'll reduce the load on the network. So hopefully we can then do cool stuff with like blobs and other cool stuff that we're unlocking right now. So this is really important. Like I said, these discussions are still ongoing, but it seems like there's strong support for 7002, and that I think is going to be huge for Rocket Pool. I don't have the tweet anymore, but I saw something. It was from POTUS, so let me see if I can find it actually. So this discussion was I'm not sure what it is. Basically, POTUS here was saying that they want a slimmer Petra upgrade so they can ship it before the end of the year, like end of Q3 or beginning of Q4. That would be absolutely phenomenal, but it also means that we need to get we need to start moving quick to get Saturn ready, because ideally we'd like to deploy Saturn in conjunction with Petra and forced exits. That would be absolutely amazing. So definitely keep an eye on this space. I'll keep you all up to date on everything that's going on, and anything of course that relates to Rocket Pool, I'll be here for it. Okay, yesterday I covered this dashboard by Antheus Labs, which is a scorecard dashboard, and since they put this out at the time, there was very little feedback, but I was covering it in today's episode just to ask you all to go and give it feedback. But it looks like some of the people have already like started doing that. So Petra here says it looks fine. However, it looks like a ripoff of the Lido scorecard, which is not ideal. I think we should be the same but different. And he says, I think that the content is much more important than how it looks. I'd use less title case, no title case for section titles and column names. And then here, Dondo says that the purpose of the scorecard could be made more clear. The dimensions make sense, but what's the goal they should be evaluated against? For example, where is Rocket Pool succeeding can be interpreted from many points of view. Are ETH holders, node operators, ETH holders, superfizz, governance actors, governance entities, the RP team, etc. From a GMC point of view, I care about metrics like whether we're spending funds effectively. Marketing and biz dev oriented folks like Jasper probably may pay more attention to mindshare, etc. And then here, Pateris as well saying, Jasper saying, echoing what Pateris said, and then kind of going through that information as well. And, the Antheist team people are, saying thank you for reading through and saying thank you for the recommendations and just talk about UX. So those are some of the feedback things that they've done. And, if you have a few minutes, go and have a look at this dashboard and give you feedback about the user experience side of things. The content stuff, I think, is going to be the next milestone. So we can work on that later together. Okay, here we have an update from Stake Rocket Pool, and this is the last DeFi RP DeFi update that Kent will be doing. He'll be passing it along to a different person, and we'll be covering that from I think next week or the week after, every 2 weeks, so 2 weeks time. But here we have the latest RPL DeFi guide, the Rocket Pool investments and incentives that are out there. So we're starting with this wrapped ETH WETH pool on Gamma Strategies that has got 18% total APR, and they're giving some good boosts there as well with your rewards. Here then there's some screenshots of the actual sheet itself. So let's go and have a look at the actual sheet and see what's going on there. So Balancer here is 14.6% and Uniswap 11.6%. So those are there. And then on mainnet here, the Gamma one is 18% that you can see. PancakeSwap nearly 17%. That's actually been quite high for a few weeks now, so people have been making some really decent money on that PancakeSwap one. And then there's some other active strategies as well that you can be part of and get the different rewards. But if you want to see the breakdown, you can go through the whole document and find everything that is there. So that's really cool. If you want to do that, you can play around with that. And the link, of course, as always, will be in the description. Okay, next we're going to be talking about client updates, and here we have this one from Geth, and Geth are saying that they have a new version 1.13.11, and says this release fixes a few bugs and enables the Cancun upgrade for the Sepolia and Haleshki networks. Sepolia will upgrade on January 31st and Haleshki on February 7th, and this naturally is a required upgrade if you intend to follow either of those chains. So then they're just talking about what else is included in there. But if you are in either of those testnets, I know that there's a Rocket Pool contingent on Haleshki, then if you're running Geth on there, you'll need to upgrade to make sure that you don't split the chain. Okay, next we're going to move away from Rocket Pool stuff and talk about some other stuff. So one of the big things that's looming on the horizon for the Ethereum ecosystem and the Ethereum, just every crypto ecosystem, I guess, as a whole, is the Ethereum spot ETF applications. So here we have Scott Johnson, who has got a thread about what's happening with the Ethereum spot ETF. And he says this is intended to be a deep dive into the current landscape for crypto spot ETFs generally, with emphasis on ETH. I'll do this in 4 parts for ease of reference. So there's a general roadmap, threshold issue, a BTC spot approval, and ETH analysis. So there's 4 parts here, and you can have a look at what it looks like. So the TLDR is on ETH. There is much nuance right now, but long term, the ETH spot ETF is almost guaranteed. Short term, Scott here is concerned approval may be delayed so long as Coinbase and Binance Securities Exchange actions are ongoing. So those court cases might hang over the decision of the SEC, even though Ethereum is not listed as a security in either of those cases. But I guess they just want to see what happens with that. And of course, as I mentioned before, in the Coinbase ruling, especially, the judge, I think, took quite a strong position with the SEC. So that's going to be definitely interesting to have a look at. So here there's the Scott shows the timeline for BTC, and he says it took 7 years from step 1 to spot ETF with disapprovals along the entire period. During this time, arguments evolved and matured, resulting in the current regime following the 19B4 approval order for spot ETFs this past month. So here then shows the Ethereum timeline. It says the two things to note is one, the timeline is compressing, which makes sense as issuers and the SEC refine arguments to react to impacts from litigation, e.g. Grayscale, and also we're currently post step 2 world. As a result, we've opened applications for both step 3, so that's the futures via Grayscale, and a step 4 spot ETF, and we can posit that step 2 and 3 are likely no longer necessary prerequisites for a spot approval. He's going to get into that as well. So then there's a whole lot of information in this, but let's just skip to section 4 where he's talking about ETH. So it's a spot approval. This is the end goal. This is critically requires another formal 19B4 approval from the SEC, as we experienced with BTC this month. So the approval process should generally be fresh in many people's minds. To understand how the SEC is thinking about future approvals, including ETH, we must understand two things. Yeah, so he says we should understand two things. What is the threshold question with regards to context from the Grayscale ruling, and what is the current view of the SEC to satisfying this question bounded by BTC approval order? It says the threshold question is addressed in part 2, the analysis of the SEC's view and BTC approval order is addressed in part 3. So you can go ahead and read all of those different parts, and yeah, the people are saying, this is a great thread. There's a lot of respect, for putting this out. However, one of the things that Scott says is, regarding the ETH analysis, he says, I mostly want people to brace themselves for the possibility of a disapproval that says we looked at the full 2.5-year sample period, and while the most recent 1.5-year period is sufficiently correlated to satisfy part 6b5, we expect sufficient correlation consistency across the entire sample period. This is not wholly unreasonable, almost certainly not arbitrary and capricious. Telegraphs the approval likely come in a year, making an appeal less attractive and the SEC look constructive, and avoids the Coinbase Binance issue, at least for the purpose of the district court cases. So Scott's saying that it's possible, but let's see what happens here. So that's definitely interesting to have a look at and think about in these coming months. It looks like we're going to be getting decisions in May, either approval or rejection, and it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Okay, I'm covering some Gravita news here today because they are unveiling a partnership with Stakewise. So they're saying that they're accepting OSETH from Stakewise as collateral for minting GRAI, and they have a mint cap of 1 million GRAI with a max LTV of 80%. So that's how they're letting you borrow against that. One of the interesting things that Gravita is also going to be doing is actually setting up a Stakewise node operator, and they'll be doing that through NodeSet. So there's a lot of interesting stuff happening there with NodeSet, with Gravita as well. And of course, these are protocols that I've covered lots of times on Rocket Fuel before. But now it looks like NodeSet node operators, almost all of whom are Rocket Pool node operators, they'll be able to eventually, soon potentially start staking on behalf of Gravita on Stakewise. So that's definitely something to keep an eye open for. And I think this integration is just one step towards that happening. Okay, and finally, this is actually the first time I recorded a whole episode where everything was not on Discord except this last story, and that's just a personal story from one of our community members. So here, Sneaky Ninja Guy says, I just signed the documents for the sale of my business, and he says, I'm no longer going to be Doug, after the joke that, he was part of Melissa and Doug. He says he got a hell of an offer. So this is really great. And he says he wasn't planning to put the business up for sale until the end of this year, but he couldn't turn this down. And then Non-Fungible Yoakum says, are you going to do what Wackwid did with his house money? And of course, there's a famous story of me investing a chunk of my house money into buying RPL. And he says, Sneaky says, I might dabble a bit, but I'm not going to YOLO in all of it. And also the total pay period is over 5 years. So I guess, he's not going to get all the money at once, but that's actually really cool. And he says that he'll have more time to shitpost and hopefully actually start shifting towards contributing to this space. And of course, the main contribution that Sneaky does is something that I love so much, is he's my #1 contributor for content for Rocket Fuel. So if he has more time to do that, I honestly think that Rocket Fuel episodes are going to get even better and packed with more content. So he's just explaining that, he's going to be a consultant for 2 more years, and it's really exciting. So I'm really happy for Sneaky. He totally deserves it. Like, he's been doing really great stuff inside the community and evidently outside the community as well. So kudos to him. Congratulations, and yeah, fuck off, as is tradition to say, to people who succeed like this. So congrats, man. Like, I'm so proud of you and so happy for you, and we can celebrate together in Denver. Okay, thanks everyone for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I will see you all on Monday with potentially some drama about the eigenlayer bounty integration. That might be something to keep an eye on over the weekend, but I'll talk to you all about that next week. Anyway, be good and have a restful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.